Hey guys, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. It's Saturday. We're kind of dressed down. It's raining. But the phone has not stopped buzzing since BK Boreyko, founder and CEO over at Vemma, made the announcement he's going affiliate marketing. Now, I put my pieces up saying I don't know if he looks like he's an affiliate marketer and there's still the binary and all that. But BK called me last night when he was leaving work, and it was about 9 o'clock my time. And we sat here and had a phenomenal conversation as he laid out to me what his thoughts were. And as he finished that conversation, and I went back to just chilling a little bit and listening to everything that people had said. I mean, my own attorney's written an article on it. I thought it was pretty good. I've had Tony Cannuli just called me and said, Troy, I interviewed BK, which we're going to tap on the end of this video. Tom Chenault's interviewing BK today over on the Tom Chenault radio show. And I got to thinking about all this, and I thought, you know, what I told BK last night was that no matter what happened, there was no doubt he was leading the way. And as I went back through and I started thinking about this, one of the things that I work with clients on, and what I look for in a company to say, okay, yes, they have longevity, yes, they can make it, or no, they don't, is how the leadership actually works, how they run. And there's 5 things, and I didn't create these. I pulled these from the Leadership Challenge, which is a book. It's actually a movement now, but it was a book written over 25 years ago. It's been rewritten over and over. And it looks at what is it that causes some companies to succeed and some to fail. And I want to touch on those because as I looked at what BK was doing, as I looked at what his team did, as I looked at where Vemma is going, I thought, you know what? I don't know if this is going to work. I don't even know if I agree with the definition of affiliate. But, you know, I got to thinking about that too. I told Tony Cannuli this. If you look at the word family and you take it back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, up to the 21st century, the definition of what a family was has changed. If you take controversial words like the word fag, and you take it back to the beginning until now, it's changed. Words and their meanings change. And if BK's decided, I'm going to take the lead, and we're going to create a new meaning, a new definition of affiliate, and we're going to create that, more power to him. I don't disagree with that. But there's one thing that I do know. Number one, BK's modeling the way. He's not sitting back and letting regulators or somebody else dictate what Vemma is doing. He's deciding, I'm going to lead the way. Good, bad, or ugly, BK's out front. Second thing that he's doing is, without a doubt, he has inspired others with a vision. When you look at the $220 million they did last year, if this works, and this customer acquisition model that I 100% support defines the gray, and all of a sudden everybody's a customer until they decide to build the business, until they bring some other affiliate in. I'm in on that. I think that's a good model. He's going to inspire people out there. He's going to inspire probably regulators to take a look at this and say, is this a model? Is this something new? Does it work? I don't know if it will, guys. I'm just telling you. This is what I wrote down today. Number 3, he's challenging the process. There is no doubt that BK Boreyko is not status quo. He is calling out everybody and saying we need to ship up or ship out. We need to change. We can't be old and cause problems. We got to new. And you know, I told him last night, I said, BK, I remember 3 years ago before all the growth started. He said to me, I'm going to tweak my comp plan because I want to be the company that has more $500 and $600 earners a month than anybody else. Because if I do that, then my leaders are going to become more successful. We're going to have more people earning thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands a year. So, I mean, going outside that status quo is probably going to irritate some people, but it also might lead to something new. Number 4, I believe the whole Vemma brand partner, the whole Vemma culture, if you will, are leading others to act. He went after the YPR movement, and I have seen so many other companies say, let's do what he's doing. And they're going after that young millennial generation. The generation where half of them have been at war and the other half is what we call slackers. Well, I tell you what, there's a boatload of them that aren't slackers. They're out there becoming successful. I see it across the board in all these other companies. And I think the 5th thing that he does is he encourages the heart. And I'm talking about the whole culture of Vemma, not just BK. But when I see what they do at their social entrepreneurialism and giving back, when I see what his own partners do, when I'm on the phone with the leaders and they're sharing with me, they don't share about the fact, Troy, we're perfect, we don't have any problems. They don't even share, oh my gosh, we think what BK did is right. Some of them say, man, I'm a little scared about this. What do you think? And I've told them, I don't know. But I know BK seems to always land on his feet because he's constantly looking. When somebody on his team says, maybe we need to reevaluate this, he reevaluates and he moves forward. When you surround yourself with a good team like that, you can make it happen. I think that Kevin Thompson, I think that Tom Chenault, I think that a lot of the critics have raised some good points. But you know what? I think those that are in BK's corner have also raised some good points about maybe this could be the final shift. Maybe it's time that direct selling, network marketing, MLM, whatever you call it, maybe it's time we get back to the roots. Maybe we get back to marketing products and stop churning the doggone community. And I think that may be what BK has created at Vemma. At the very least, he's got more eyeballs on him right now than maybe any other company out there, except maybe Herbalife, in the direct selling industry. Hey, listen to this interview that Tony Cannuli did with BK Boreyko. Live life like it's an epic adventure. Stay dangerous, stay strong. And if you're in a home-based business, act like it.
Well, welcome, everybody. This is Tony Cannuli, the marketing director in the show house for the Slight Edge Zone on the Home Business Radio Network and the vice president of the MLMIA. And we've got a very special broadcast and a live interview here for you guys that you guys are just going to just absolutely love. I've got a good friend of mine on the line and somebody that's no stranger to most people in direct selling. If you've been around direct selling or network marketing for any length of time, you know who this person is. It's a gentleman by the name of BK Boreyko. BK started a company called Vemma back almost 10 years ago now. He's been in the profession for well over 2.5 decades. Kind of came into it via his parents were also in the profession. They own their own company. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I'd love for BK to actually just share the story himself. But he's going to tell you the story of what's gone on with Vemma. We've got some interesting news. He made some changes in the model that I believe are extremely positive, and I have them on today so that he can explain and talk about some of those changes and talk about the future, which is extremely bright within the network marketing world. And so with that, I want to welcome my good friend here, BK Boreyko. Hey, BK, I know I interviewed you just a couple of years ago when you guys just, I think, hit about 100 or 117 million. And I know you're on track now to hit maybe 3 or 350 possibly here. And I'll tell you what, hats off to you. You guys are unbelievable. I'm watching what you're doing, and I'm one of your biggest fans and supporters. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. Share with everybody, just the story. Bring us up to date today, and then we'll get more, get forward into some of the new news here that we've been talking about.
Absolutely. Hey, Tony, big fan of your show. To give you an idea, the recent changes that we made, I've been just inundated with interview requests. Interviewed with the New York Post first, and you are my second. So that's how high you rate on my priority list. But the last 9 years. 9 years ago we started Vemma, kind of a reinvention of what we were doing with New Vision, and it's just a message that kind of resonated. My dad used to say, the sun shines all day long, but until you focus with a magnifying glass only, then you can start a fire. And so we, basically that reinvention was take our number 1 and number 2 selling products in New Vision, repackage them, rebrand them, and focus on that. And that story started to get some traction. It took us about 7 years to get to that, that coveted $10 million a month mark, that, 100 million plus. You're sort of now you can put your big boy pants on and be a little bit more of a relevant company in the industry. And then 12 months after that, we went from 10 million a month to 20 million a month, and now we're continuing that growth in our 9th year now, and got some big goals for this year, got some big announcements. A lot of people think this was a big announcement, and this is a big announcement to sort of progress and evolve into an affiliate model, and we got some more stuff up our sleeve. I think at our convention we're going to have 10,000 affiliates in Las Vegas at the end of this month, and we've got a big announcement that will really allow them to for the first time expand their business into a market that we've never really been able to address before. And then this summer, probably the biggest announcement of my career is going to be coming out. And so if my fans and my critics like what they see with the announcements so far, just wait till this month, and in a couple of months we got some more stuff up our sleeve.
Well, can you talk about, I don't know if you can talk about that high point here in your career. If you can, that'd be great. If not, we understand. You may have to shoot us
No, I can't. No, actually, that one is so big. There's probably only a handful of people in my office that actually know about it. But no, it's just a big deal. It's my goal is to make Vemma a household brand, and I know people have heard that before, and that's a monumental undertaking. And any time that I can do something that will move us in towards that goal, I'm going to want to pull the trigger on it. So it's a big deal. I think when you realize when you hear about it, you'll say, "Wow, I can see why he couldn't talk about it." So I apologize. I'm like the worst secret keeper in the world because my dad used to also tell me the only way you can fail in this business is you get arthritis in the mouth. You got to like to talk, and that's one of my attributes. And so unfortunately, in this topic, I'm not going to be able to say anything. We got a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, that we do. And speaking of that, one of the things that that's really important here, and being around the profession for almost 30 years, and one thing I know that happens is when someone hears about a rumor or they hear about something, they always sometimes get a little nervous. I mean, change in general for the human psyche, we know, is challenging, and people have to accept change. And so when they made some of the announcements about just some of the changes that were made to the Vemma, to the model, some people have all. I think most people are just ignorant, not in a negative way, but just ignorant of the changes. And sometimes the shop talk that we use internally may confuse some of the newer people in the profession. So I want to have a conversation about that. Maybe you can start with really what prompted these changes. I know you and I spoke about this the other day. It wasn't something that was overnight. It's something that it's been thought of for some time, and you're in the middle of significant growth. I mean, some people could say, use the word momentum maybe, or, the beginning of critical mass, whatever it may be, but why do this now? And so, that's been a question. I've seen some people throw some arrows and darts at you. From my perspective, think it's brilliant. In any change is going to cause that. We know that's going to bring that. Like you said, you're going to get your critics. So let's just talk a little bit openly amongst friends here. There's no political agenda, just so people have a better idea, minus the shop talk, of really why you did what you did, and why I think it's going to be a milestone, actually. You've always been an innovator, and you've always done great things, and so I see it that way.
I appreciate that. Well, it really goes back to about mid last year when I was reading Fast Company magazine and had Jeff Bezos on the cover, King Bezos, and it talked about Amazon and how he has 89 distribution centers around North America, and he's building this distribution center that he wants to have same day delivery, and then you see on 60 Minutes he wants to actually deliver it by helicopter or by the little drones. But I read that, and what surprised they did $70 billion last year. And to be able to align yourself with a company that's successful would be great. And part of the article that intrigued me was the fact that they do a huge percentage of their business through what's called third-party fulfillment. Now I own my own manufacturing facility. We obviously have a tremendous headquarters that we just moved into last week, but we don't do our own shipping. We use third-party fulfillment for our shipping. And so I read this and I go, oh my gosh, how cool would that be if our products came in an Amazon box and we could offer, the biggest thing that I thought was cool is, hey, if we could offer like next day delivery for, the same regular shipping rates. So I'm talking to a CEO buddy of mine, and he lives up in Seattle, and he says, hey, my next door neighbor is in charge of the Kendall division, and he texts him and he gets me the phone number or the phone number of the person that handles the fulfillment for Amazon. So we go into several months of high-level talks and negotiations with Amazon about trying to pull this off. The only reason we didn't make the move is it would have cost me at current, we ship about 100,000 boxes a month domestically here, and at current volume it would cost me about $250,000 to $300,000 more per month. And I just said I love the Amazon story, and I would be willing, if it was $100,000 for $1 million extra a year, I would pay that to have that story. But they go, we don't come down on our prices because we're Amazon, and they're not really built. Their fulfillment model isn't built for a company my size. And so I passed on the deal, but as we were in this high-level discussions, a lot of discussions revolved around their affiliate model, and Amazon is by far one of the most successful affiliate marketing programs in the industry. And other companies, Google has an affiliate program, Zappos has an affiliate program. Several companies are eBay, affiliates. I mean, it's a business model that in the online world is extremely commonplace. It's very easy to understand, and some use a single-tier plan, some have a multi-tier plan. There's a lot of similarities between network marketing marketing and affiliate marketing, and some of the differences aren't that big of differences. It's a lot to do with semantics. And so I'm talking to the Amazon people. I'm like, basically do business like we do business. You place an order online or through your phone, and it arrives on your doorstep in a day or two later. Amazon did $70 billion selling things that they basically you can buy at Target. So there's power behind this whole affiliate program, and so
that's almost half the size of the whole direct selling profession.
Well,
we're about $185 billion.
And they predominantly are just U.S. based. I mean, they do have some international operations, but the bulk of their business is here in the States. And so, you look at Amway at $11 billion after 60 years, and what's Amazon been around like a third of that time, and they're doing $70 billion. And so there's a tremendous amount of validity in how they do business. I was getting interviewed for a book this morning, and one of the questions was, what advice would you give executives in the network marketing space? And I said, we get paid for paying attention. And here's the challenge that a lot of executives have is they just focus on how they do business and maybe a few of their competitors, and they have like these blinders on. I kind of pride myself in looking into other industries. And, like we have a mobile app in Vemma that we give away to our affiliates for free. And one of the most popular features on there is the text invitation, where you're able to take your Facebook friends and your phone contacts, make a prospect list. You see Tony's name. You click on it. You say, hey, he'd be great for Verve. You click on the Verve brand. A pre-populated text pops up with a little video clip on a little minute-and-a-half video clip on it. It says, Tony, you got to check this out. It's blowing up. You hit send. It's a text message. It's not email. It's a text, and text 94% get opened in 3 minutes. And so Tony gets this from me. You watch the little video clip. I get a push notification that says, hey, Tony's watching the Verve video, and your name goes from my prospect list into my hot list to follow up. And that idea came from a company called Viper, which is a VoIP company, big in Europe, and that's how they grow their network virally, is through text. They didn't have the video component to it, but they had the pre-populated text thing, and Boxer uses the same thing. That's just one example on how it's so important not to just focus on network marketing or a few competitors. You got to say the only thing you can count on in this day and age in business is change. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to get run over. And I look at the affiliate marketing model and how successful they are. And there's so many similarities between what we do and what Amazon does or any other affiliate, but we just pay better because we've got a better compensation plan. And so the critics come in and tell me, oh, you're being David Copperfield and you're just playing magic tricks and there's no change whatsoever, that's going on in your business, and not even calling me and asking me for any specific details or something. But we did make some changes to our compensation plan to be able to better fit into the affiliate model. And I apologize for similarities between affiliate marketing and network marketing, but I didn't create those similarities. I just wanted to capitalize on them.
Well, I think what some of the critics think about BK, and that was a great understanding, and I appreciate that. I think what they're saying is like there's this fear of loss. By changing this, people are going to lose money, And I've done a few consulting jobs in my career, and I was looking at the math and looking at the comp model, and if anything, you're going to end up paying more.
Yeah, well, it's a good observation because we didn't, as far as the percentage of dollars that we pay out, Amazon pays up to 10%, we pay, about 50%, and that number isn't changing. That number isn't changing. That number isn't changing at all. That number is something that is staying constant. But where the additional costs come in is the fact that we're going to give product away. I mean, if three customers if a customer refers three customers, they're going to get a free case of product. They refer 6 customers, they get 2 cases of product for free. Same thing with affiliates. One of the criticisms was, well, if people don't have to buy product in order to qualify for a check, which in affiliate marketing, that's commonplace, that you don't have to buy product to be able to qualify for bonuses. They say you're not going to have a relationship with the product. How are your people going to get attached and fall in love with your product if they don't have to buy it? And I said, wait, you're missing the point. They don't have to buy it. I want to give it to them. I'm still going to ship them the product. They have to pay the tax and shipping, but I'm still going to ship them the product. They're going to get the product. If they want to drink it, if they want to give it away as samples, they're going to get the product. And so that relationship is not going to change. It's just how we set up the structure. And so that was a big change for us, to remove personal volume requirements to be able to qualify qualify for all the bonuses. You can qualify for some bonuses without having any kind of personal volume requirements, but we have incentives to be able to have people be their own best customer. So we've removed that. And the other thing is we charge the same price for customers or affiliates. We don't have buy our kit. We don't have any sign-up fees or any renewal fees. We don't say buy our sign-up and get 20% off or 30% off, and get a special price. I mean, talk about disincentivizing somebody to become a customer. That I've always said, hey, on the internet, you can't have any secrets on the internet, and if you can't treat one person better than you treat another person. And so I consider everybody a customer. We have 70% of the people that purchase product from us are just customers, and then we have 30% that are affiliates and they want to promote our brands. And I love them both. I treat them both. Our department is called Customer Service Department, and I don't care if an affiliate's calling or I don't care if a customer's calling. They're all our customers, and you got to care about them. That's got to be your first and foremost priority. It can't be shareholder value or distributor. It's got to be customers. Is got to be you got to make your decision based on what your customers want. And so we charge the same price. The customers get the same volume. It's the same qualifications for an affiliate bringing in a customer as an affiliate, having a person become another affiliate. And so we don't want to prejudice against them. We want to love them. We want to appreciate them and just say, hey, thanks.
It's so interesting because I thought direct sales was a better way to bring the product from the manufacturer to the end consumer. And it's so ironic that you're getting closer to that model. And to me, it's very idealistic. It's beautiful to see a real distributor, for instance, to customer ratio, and the fact that you have an end-line consumer. And what I've seen in network marketing over the years, more often than not, and I love this profession. I mean, anybody that knows me, listen to any of the shows I've done, the work I've done with the MLM, they know when you cop me, I bleed network marketing. I mean, that's just the way it is. And that's how I feel. I love the profession. Now, do I love everything that happens? No. Is it perfect? No. Are mistakes being made every day? Yes, absolutely. But it's still, for the average person, in my opinion, the last bastion of free enterprise, where the average person can get leverage, and they can compress time and create significant value of freedom, and residual income for their family. I mean, at the end of the day, done right, network marketing is like going to Disney World. At the end of the day, done wrong, it's like being on the worst street in New York City. Either way, it's the experience.
But hey,
I covered Zeke last year. Trust me. But anyway, I wanted to say this: that most companies, BK, most of them out there, the majority of the distributors are actually customers. They're just disguised with distributor hats on, and they have a check mark next to their name. And what you're doing is you're identifying, hey, look, these are the real customers, and you're actually calling them what they are. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, when I saw what you were doing here, I'm a fan. We know that, but there was something I didn't agree with. I'd say that too. And I saw this and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is brilliant." So anyway, I wanted to cover the regulatory part of it as well at some point, and to discuss this for the exact reason where the regulators look and they go, "Wait a minute here. A lot of these people really aren't really selling the product, the 70% rule and all that." And I want you had some very good insights into the future of network marketing and where we're going. We're still small. I mean, not even $200 billion. Franchising's over $1 trillion. So you had some great insights on that, and you have some reasons around the regulatory environment as well.
It's a climate right now from the regulatory standpoint that is getting a lot of scrutiny. I mean, you see the Herbalife story, and I'm not telling your listeners anything that don't already know. There is talk about a spotlight being shown on an industry, and one of the things that the regulators love is an organization that goes out there and is focused on customer acquisition. And one of the big changes that we made was that everybody now that joins Vemma first as a customer. And they can come in, and if they refer another customer, they get the option to upgrade to become an affiliate, or they can stay as a customer and they get customer product credit, and they get the right to earn free product, or they can become an affiliate and start to earn income on top of that, or they can buy one of our affiliate sample packs that give a variety of products, and they can do it that way. First and foremost, everybody comes in a customer. The regulators love customer acquisition models because the focus is on the product. The focus is, hey, you're not buying things that you normally wouldn't buy to be able to qualify for bonuses that you wouldn't get unless you purchased the product. And here's our unique advantage in the as opposed to some other companies and their product offerings we're a beverage business. We're a company that sells a product that is massively consumable. I mean, I don't know if you've tried our new Verve Mojo yet, our coffee drink, healthy coffee. We've got the Verve Party. We've got the Vemma Renew. I mean, we've got products that people, they chug it down. I mean, you put a case of Verve in your fridge if you got a couple teenagers or college kids that come over. I mean, they fall in love with it. And our branding, we go above board and make sure we make an extra effort on making the brand cool and packaged well and taste great. And so it's a product that is easy to be able to attract customers to. And my big announcement that's coming this summer is all about customer acquisition. I mean, I'm literally investing millions, and as it gets closer, I'll give you more information on it, into customer acquisition to be able to get, gather customers for our affiliates. And so it's what regulators love. I mean, it's you never hear Amazon being called a pyramid scheme.
You made a good point earlier when we talked. You said perception is reality in people's eyes. No matter what it doesn't matter if you perceive it as black, it's black.
Mm-hmm. And no matter how much you tell them, it's like a deep gray. And you go, no, it's black. I'm looking at it.
That's exactly right, because they're deep philosophies, deep beliefs that have gone maybe years and years and through family, even generations.
Yeah, absolutely. And you ask a person, and here's the thing that people need to understand, is I had nothing to do with forming the different perceptions people have between Amway and between Amazon. I had nothing to do with that. Yet, you ask somebody about Amway, and you ask somebody about Amazon, and you were pretty close to guarantee you're going to get two completely different perceptions. Now, if I'm sitting here, working with the Amazon executives and looking at their affiliate marketing model, and I'm like, we are so close to being just like you, except with a better pay plan. And if you want to criticize me for having, they say, you're still MLM. Vemma operates off of volume. I mean, I don't care if Vemma is sold on your 50th level or your 500th level or your first level. I mean, it doesn't matter. You have right side volume and you have left side volume, and that's what generates your income. So we're actually an MVM company, a multi-volume company, and so we've never been MLM, yet people keep wanting to call us MLM. And for those that want to call us MLM, and you know who you are, go ahead and call us. I don't care what you call. Hey, you know what? I just want you to place an order. Just buy some product from me, but you call me whatever you want to call me, but what I want to call me is that's my, I'm not gonna argue with somebody that if I want to call myself an affiliate marketing plan and they want to call me an MLM plan, go ahead. There's arguments both ways, but here's something. You've got an owner, a CEO that doesn't want to argue with you. Seriously, I don't want to engage. I was reading Kevin Thompson's blog today, and I'm like, I don't even want to engage him because he writes a blog and he doesn't even he's got questions. But instead of calling me up and saying, hey, BK, what about this, what about that, tell me what your intentions were behind this, he just wants to frickin' do a blog and start blasting me and then having, comments about, is he actually doing legal? Is this a legal plan that he has? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, 19 years in this industry as an owner, almost $2 billion in sales, and these guys think this is my first rodeo. These guys don't think that I'm smart enough to understand that I need to have people around me smarter than I am. I mean, Kevin went to college, got a law degree. I completely applaud him for that. I barely got through high school. I'm a guy that's been working since I was 14 years old, and I don't have higher education. But my dad taught me something long ago, is that you can hire operations, you can hire manufacturing, you can hire fulfillment, but what you can't hire is leadership. And that's something that I have a certain amount of skill set in. And so here is a guy that, I'm the CEO of this company, and I say, you know what? I see the cloud of pressure of regulatory scrutiny that is forming in the back, off in the distance. And the storm, it could blow off. It could blow over. Nobody knows anything different. Or it could come and rain on everybody's parade. And here's the thing, is Vemma's done nothing to create the scrutiny. I mean, we were swimming in a pool people are peeing in. And my solution isn't get a stronger filter or put more chlorine in that pool. My answer is I'm getting in the other pool. I'm going to go swim with Amazon, and I'm going to go swim with Zappos, and I'm going to go swim with Google and eBay, and I'm going to go into a different pool. And God bless the people that want to stay in that pool. I don't, you know what, I'm not saying I hate MLM. I'm not dissing MLM. I'm not having anything bad to say. I'm just saying, can't I go do something different? Can't I call myself, something different? And according to some of my critics, I'm not allowed to do that. But last time I checked, I've got to pay the light bill here at home office. I've got to pay for my 210 employees at home office and my 160 employees at my manufacturing facility. I'm responsible for that. Okay, so until they want to start taking over some of my responsibility, only then will I say, you know what, I guess I should listen to you. But right now, I'm just, the old Amway expression, the dogs bark, but the caravan moves on, and we're moving on to bigger and better things.
When you throw a brick into that pack of dogs, the one you hit is the one that barks the loudest.
So, and I don't want to throw any bricks. I don't want to call out any. I'm not saying anything bad. I mean, the New York Post reporter was trying to get me to say something bad about the MLM industry, and I said I'm not throwing it under the bus. Seriously. And Herbalife is doing what Herbalife thinks is right. And you know what? I'm doing what I think is right. Kevin Thompson's perception of what he thinks is right doesn't mean I have the same perception, and it doesn't mean that I can't do what I'm doing. And so, hey, I know there's similarities between network marketing and affiliate marketing. I didn't create them, okay? What I want to do is I want to have an organization that is like a giant customer magnet that I want to create brands and products that people flock to, that they want to do it, and they want to consume these brands. And so the great thing about it is my affiliates, I want them to be the most successful affiliates in the industry. Seriously, I want them to succeed, and anything I can do to help accomplish that is the right decision in my frame of mind.
And I'll tell you, before we get into the YPR, because we're going to transition a little bit into that, because you have been innovative, and your decisions that you've made haven't always necessarily been popular, but they've proven to be amazing down the road. Like, for instance, no kit fees, no renewal fees. Well, we talked about this. I mean, $30, $40, $50 up front doesn't seem like a lot, but when you've got 10,000, 100,000, or a million distributors, it's a lot of money that you could be earning. You don't do that. Here's what people don't know about BK Boreyko. This is third party. And I'm not saying that because you're on the show today here, but I've observed this has been around for almost 30 years. And here's the reality. There are people in the profession that do the best that they can to try to make a difference as a servant leader. You are that, have always been that. That's why you have no kit fees. You could have had that. You could have had renewal fees. You could have had systems fees. You could have done anything to bring in more cash flow into your bottom line. But that wasn't in the best interest of your group. So to the people that are listening to this right now, you got to realize that this is the real deal. I mean, it doesn't get any better than BK Boreyko. In my opinion, it does not get any better than your form of leadership. And I'm just, if
this was a Google Hangout, you'd see me blushing right now. But Tony, we want to be the leader in mobile technology. We believe, there's 7 billion mobile devices on this planet, and it's forecasted in the next 3 years to go to 10 billion mobile devices connected to the Internet, not just mobile devices, but devices connected to the Internet. And so, we've invested almost $1 million into apps, our Vemma app for our affiliates, and then our Body app, and that's just our free weight loss app, and anybody can go to the Google Play or the App Store and search Vemma Body or Vemma. The Vemma one you need a passcode to get, but the Vemma Body is just free. But, we invest that money, and, other companies will ding you for use of their app, or they'll package it in with a monthly thing that you got to do. And I'm like, no, apps are like 99 cents or free. And I chose free because, what I want them to do is I want them to help build their network. I want to be able to come out and not only not charge them for like kits and things like that what I would have to invest in, but I'm going to invest into them and give it away to them for free just so that they build their business. And that is, I care more about winning than I do about margins. And it drives my senior staff crazy because, some of them, come with a pedigree of network marketing companies that they worked for in the past, and they bring, that philosophy here, and I say, take that and throw it out. And our philosophy here is, number one, you have to have fun. You got to enjoy what you're doing. And the second thing is you cannot suck at what you do, because if you do, I'm going to find somebody that doesn't suck. And we joke about that when we have new hires come in. This is the philosophy here. But the other thing that they need to realize is, hey, we basically operate off the golden rule. I mean, we want to treat people like and make decisions like Tony would make decisions if you were running the company, or Alice or anybody else. We want to make these decisions that people go, hey, that makes sense, and hey, we appreciate that. But it's just like, I only do what I do because I enjoy it and I have fun doing it, and I've got enough money. I don't do it for the money's on the list somewhere, but that's not the reason why I come into the office every day. And it's funny that I've been nominated. I'm a semifinalist in the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and I was at a cocktail mixer last week, and one of the big finance guys, they're trolling around looking to see if I can throw business their way, and they asked me what my exit strategy is, and I looked at him. I go, well, I got 6 kids, 7 and under. And he goes, no, I didn't ask about your family. I asked about your exit strategy. I go, no, it's one and the same. I want to raise my kids up, so hopefully they love what their dad does and they can take up and eventually, run this company, because I don't have an exit. I don't have a plan B, and I don't have an exit strategy. I do this because since I was 7 years old and my parents got involved in Amway, and I was on the top of the stairs in my pajamas watching them do meetings. I mean, I was raised to be in this business, and now I'm sort of evolving our business model into morphing it into another business model, and the biggest reason I did that is that newest person, if I can, I've got a responsibility to help them become as successful as possible. And when even I'm 19 years as an owner, and when I say I'm in network marketing, I kind of inside I sort of cringe a little bit, because I know that a lot of people have had bad experiences from other companies, and I just thought to myself that when I took the ambassadors to the Bahamas late last year, Brad Alcazan, my number 2 income earner, this is a 28-year-old kid. He's on a dive trip, and he's talking with the dive master, and the dive master goes, what do you do? And he goes, we promote this healthy energy drink through a model sort of like Avon. And I'm like, Brad, Avon? And I go, you can't even say Amway? You can't something a little more relevant? And the dive master says, the dive master says to my number 2 income earner, okay? Kid will make over $2 million this year. He's 28 years old. He says to him, you're one of those. And I said to him, Brad, imagine if you would have just replaced one word in that response to say, hey, we promote a healthy energy drink in a business model similar to Amazon, except we pay better. The perception of that dive master, I don't have to pay for the sins of an industry. And I'm not saying the network marketing companies are bad. I'm just saying that there's been some mistakes that have been made over the last 50, 60 years that I don't want to saddle my newest affiliate with. I don't want my newest affiliate having to explain why we're different, when a person can instantly make a decision on, hey, are you guys cool or are you guys not so cool?
We do it all the time. We do it all the time. We use Warren Buffett, for instance, or Virgin Airlines, or Robert Kiyosaki, or why do we do that? I mean, when you psychologically, we do it to validate, to show people that this is real business. We use those stories. So what you're talking about is no different than the master distributor in, Nu Skin, whatever company you want to call, using some of those in their PowerPoint slides. You just figured out, because, see, this is the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand, and why I have so much respect for you, BK. You're one of a small group of people in the profession that has been in the trenches. You're a field general. You've built organizations. You do what we do. You know what we do. You know what we feel. And so you get this. And so when you come up with things like, like you said, comparing it to Amazon, it just makes sense, because you're just relating. This business is all about relatability. Even way back to Amway, if you knew a doctor, you gave them the tape that had a doctor pitch an Amway, because they could relate. That was another doctor doing it. So what you're doing is just common sense, in my opinion. And by the way, before we move into the wipe here, I want you to tell a short story, because Jeff Weisberg is a good friend of both you and I. And I want the world to know that you have done things as even, you're into personal development, you're into change, you're into getting better, being better. You're one of us. You love the model. You love personal change and growth. You came from, like you said, that Amway background. Your parents, you've been raised with it. But you ended up going to, I think it was a 12-day Tony Robbins event, and you ended up doing
did,
that
the Life
with one of your
Mastery.
distributors.
Yeah. No, well, Jeff Weisberg is, he's one of, of all of our, we call him affiliates, Tony, by the way. But he's one of my, he's one of my best guys. I mean, the guy is just, he's seasoned, he's smart, he's got a great skill set, and he's the one that actually talked me into going to this Life Mastery 12 days in Hawaii. That's where they do the 40-foot fire walk, and you climb up a 50-foot telephone pole, and it was really, I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins, and I highly recommend if you ever get a chance to go to one of those, even the weekend events. I mean, I know it's expensive, it's an investment in yourself, but my dad used to say the problem with most people nowadays and why they're not successful is they spend more money on the outside of their head getting their hair done, Weisberg excluded, than they do on the inside of their head, developing themselves, reading the right books, listening to the right, the things on their iPod. So it's just an investment in yourself, and especially with these young people coming in, we're bringing in between 15 and 18,000 young people a month into Vemma, and these people have no clue about network marketing or the industry or the baggage or anything like that, unless they ask their parents. But what they understand, another big reason to make this change is they understand Amazon. They don't understand Amway, and these kids got short attention spans, and you want it to click in their mind about, hey, how does this work as a business? And for you to say, well, it's kind of like Amway, except it's like this. They're going to be glazed over. But you say it's like Amazon, and they understand. They order from Amazon. They click on a little Amazon banner on a website, and they know that with Amazon you click on a banner. With us you click with people, and that's the big difference. We pay better than Amazon, but it's the same kind of a concept, and that is, my nomenclature, my terminology changed. The biggest thing is I want to be more transparent, and I want to have people be able to understand how, the concept of how we do business, and especially with these young people, and they have short attention spans. It's a 15-second on video on Instagram, or it's a 6-second on Vine. I mean, it's like, hey, give it to me quick and let me get it, and I need to move on to other things that distract me. But that's a huge reason why we made this change, and you know what? With all the criticism that I get, and I don't want to argue with any of the critics out there, and I just want to be able to say, hey, you know what, we're doing what we do, and I've earned the right to be able to call. If I want to call myself purple marketing, I should be able to call myself purple marketing. People won't understand what I mean, but at least I get to start with a clean slate, and I can explain what it is, rather than say, hey, I'm MLM marketing, and they go, oh, you're one of those. Like, if you're okay with that, then that's cool. That's great. I love it. If you're not okay with that, then call yourself something else. I mean, probably learn this from the old curiosity approach with Amway. Amway never said what they did, but I was like, hey, we help people become millionaires, okay? Whatever. You do whatever you're happy with is the point I'm making. I'm not saying lie to people, but I'm just saying do whatever makes you happy. Do what is effective. And if I can, I've had good people that would have been phenomenal in this business get blown out and quit because they talked to some well-meaning friend or family member, and he says to the same thing the dive master said to Brad Alkazan, oh, you're one of those things, okay? And he doesn't, or she doesn't, have the experience or the skill set or the belief, or hasn't done the homework or the research to be able to have a strong enough defense against that type of an attack. And they're like, oh, this is terrible. I hate doing this business. But if you come in and you say, oh, you're like Amazon, hey, wow, cool, tell me more. All of a sudden, you give that newest person a layer of protection to not have to defend what they're doing in their first conversation. And any network marketing company owner would go, oh my gosh, that alone would be reason to make the changes to be able to go to affiliate marketing. And that newest person, because that's the core lifeblood of your company. And if you're not making decisions based on that newest person, you're not making decisions for the right reason.
That's right, and it's all about belief systems, and you got to keep people in long enough to get their belief up to the point where that wouldn't even bother someone like you or I today. We laugh at stuff like that. It doesn't even give us we feel bad for the people that say it, because we know what the beauty, we know what this profession done right is. The beauty of it's amazing, and like I said, it's like a Disney experience. It's just magical. And what you're doing is you're putting arrows in the quivers of your affiliates. You're giving them extra tools to help them in their process, to help keep them in, to help get them more success. I mean, you care about them, and you're doing it for all the right reasons. There's no negativity around it all, and I applaud you for what you're doing. And when it comes to the YPR movement, because when you were on the Slight Edge Zone a couple of years ago, we were talking about college age, and I think you had said 52% of people that get out of college today, they don't even have a prayer, BK, for a job, right? And so what you've done with the YPR,
here's a worse statistic. Those that did find employment after graduating college, 47% of those folks are working in jobs that don't require a college degree. Yet they're saddled with this student loan debt that is over $1 trillion. You can't bankrupt yourself out of it. You're basically, and what people don't understand is this student loan debt is stifling the economy, because these new kids can't even buy a home because they're saddled with this debt, and they're getting these jobs. And so here we come out with this YPR movement that is a phenomenon. It's like nothing I've seen before ever, and it just happens that we, with our mobile technology and our texting app feature, and we've got a product, mix with our Verve Healthy Energy that kids resonate with, and it's an opportunity that the reason it attracts so many kids every month is because it's something that fits into their lifestyle. It's not something that they have to fit into. It's hey, who do you know that likes to drink energy drinks? Who do you know that likes to send out texts? Who do you know that likes to be able to earn bonuses that pay off your student loan debt? Who do you know that wants to make an extra $500 or $1,000 a month? And that is the demographic for what we call YPR.
And you've done an amazing job with that. And I know we wanted to talk a little bit about, too, is that it's something that is very special to me, and it's moving into the Latino market, and that group, that demographic, is unbelievable. And I know you've done a lot of study on it, and a lot of the changes and things you're doing are moving in that direction and moving into that marketplace. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that. What do you see there, BK?
Well, I see the Latino market as, YPR. The thing that made YPR so cool is that they're socially connected. I mean, these kids invented social media. I mean, that age bracket, the millennials. Everybody talks about the baby boomers and how that's the most desirable marketplace, 76 million baby boomers. And what they don't realize is that the future is these millennials. There are 80 million millennials. And in 3 years, they're going to outspend the baby boomer. And so that is sort of the future. So, what is cool about Vemma is we've got this product mix. I mean, we've got the Vemma brand, which is anti-aging, antioxidant, and all of that, kind of thing that resonate with the baby boomers. We've got the body brand, with Chris and Heidi Powell and our shakes and our weight loss and our body burn, and that is great for that demographic as well. But, that demographic also has kids and college kids, and to be able to have an opportunity that appeals to the baby boomers and the millennials, like very few companies in our industry, is something that's huge. And so I look at the YPR took our Verve brand from about $500,000 a month, so like $6 million brand, and within 2 years had turned it into a $110 million brand. I mean, absolutely explain. Not only here domestically, but all over the world. We've got pockets of young people like France. France is up like 7,000% growth year over year. I mean, just absolutely exploding in Austria, Germany, in Australia, in Taiwan. I'm there, 1,500 young people standing on their chairs going, Verve, Verve, Verve. I mean, just amazing. I went to Mexico, had almost 1,000 kids outside of Mexico City, and all excited about Verve. And so, we've got all this movement that started just 2 years ago, and I see the Latino movement as more connected, not through social media, but more connected through just their social families. They are in this country the most connected demographic group by far. And I see the Latino community where I saw the YPR community. And here's the thing that we did with YPR is we stayed out of their way. All we did support them where they needed support. Give them the tools, give them a YouTube, the YouTube channel, Verve Healthy Energy on YouTube.com, and it's just amazing what they've been able to do with that. We are doing that. We're taking that magnifying glass and we're focusing on two new markets because the YPR is exploding on its own. It doesn't need us that much anymore. They're doing their thing. They know what to do. We're taking that magnifying glass. We're focusing on the Latino market and what they call the lady boss market. These young females that are just, they want their own life. They don't want to be dependent upon a man. And so those are the two markets, but the Latino market is the one that I'm the most excited about because, we're in Mexico right now. We're in Puerto Rico right now. We actually have product distribution center in Puerto Rico, so the shipping is the same as it is here in the States, or they can go pick it up for free and not pay shipping. We're opening up in a month. We start the pre-launch for the Dominican Republic. A month after that, we open it up. The month after that, we start the pre-launch for Colombia. And the month after that, we open up Colombia. So in the next, 3, 4, 5 months, we're going to be opening up two huge Latino markets to accentuate that. And that's our kind of our beachhead, our stepping stone into Central South America, eventually getting into Brazil. But it is a market that I'm super excited about, and we are going to do the exact same thing we did with YPR. We are going to support it, we're going to grow it, and we're going to explode it and celebrate the success of these Latinos, both young, we call them YPR, Young People Revolution, and we also have APR, which is All People Revolution. And so we don't want to put a number on anybody, but we want to be able to be able to support them like that.
I want to kind of put a perspective on that. Today, there's not a lot of options for the average person, especially as we've been talking about college age, for instance, as you were saying earlier, what they have to face. And then you look at people that have lost their IRAs, they've in some cases have been downsized because they have real estate for investments, and now they've got to live 20, 30, 40 years. They're 50, 60 years old. They're trying to figure out how to create enough leverage to live a quality lifestyle. They don't have the time. They don't have the time. And what you've put together, an opportunity like what you've put together, is allowing people to compress time, allowing them to do inside of a couple of years, for instance, what maybe would take them 10 or 20 years to do. And you're seeing that. And when you're seeing, you said you have a 28-year-old Brad. He's 28 years old. He's making $2 million a year. Share just a few stories of some of the youngers, 18, 19, 20, 21, for instance, okay, that got excited, got in, got focused, and what they've been able to do. I mean, I think these stories are so huge. And you, from the standpoint of being a founder of one of the, in my opinion, one of the best well-run companies in the direct selling profession, affiliate marketing profession now, I believe is so valuable coming from you.
Well, it's great to see stories like Cody Barton, who got started when he was 17, 18, just getting out of high school. And, now he's making $250,000 a year with us, driving a new BMW that we're making the payments for. You take a look at a Pete Sanchez who's a little bit under, I think he's 26, 27, just getting ready to get married, and little kid from a border town here, and just went ambassador, which is $350 a year or more. These are just, you just see these young stories, and one of the things that I was hearing all this success. You talked earlier in our call about a person's belief level and how you can only succeed to the level that you can believe. And one of the things that I was experiencing was all of these stories coming into me. And I'm like, how do we find like a central, kind of like a sizzle line? If you remember those old days, when I got started, Fax on Demand was a big thing, but like
That's
a sizzle line kind of thing. And I
when
thought,
you got started, you were using chalkboards. What are you kidding?
Yeah, it was a chalkboard. There wasn't even whiteboards invented. But it was, I said, hey, let's do a podcast. So I hired a guy by the name of Eric Thomas. He's the hip hop preacher, and he really has a heart for young people, and he does this thing called YPR Radio, where we bring in a leader, and we record this, and they have, it's like a little radio show that we videotape. We put it up on YouTube, and we've just, we put out an episode a week, and each leader has 3 or 4 people call in and kind of tell their success stories. And so what happens is, so that the youtube.com/Verve Healthy Energy channel is a central place for people to go and hear the kind of stories that you're asking about, and they see people, they see young girls and young guys that are doing what they want to do, and their belief level starts to rise. And that's the same thing we want to do with the Latino market. Is we want to be able to take these Latino success stories, do shows on them, celebrate their success, recognize them for their success. But the biggest, most selfish reason why we're doing this is so that we can raise the belief level of other young people watching these shows. And so they always say facts tell and stories sell, and the way that we get the stories out, via podcast. You can subscribe to it on iTunes, and it automatically is downloaded on your phone, or you can just go to the YouTube channel and see them or see past episodes. And it's just a cool way of being able to tell these stories about the people's success.
Stories really are everything. I got into the profession because of the stories I heard. You remember growing up. Most people don't realize that when you go and if you get motivated, for a moment, it's like taking a nice hot bath. You feel good, but as soon as you get out, reach for that towel, man, you're chilling off. You're cold, right? That's motivation. But stories change your belief system. It changes your outlook on things, your attitude, which changes your philosophies, your thinking, your actions, and then of course your results. And so belief system using stories, that's why almost everything I do on the Slight Edge Zone, has been stories. Even when we teach, we're using stories to teach because people remember the story. And if they remember the stories, they remember how they felt, and they remember how it changed their thinking, and they think differently. And so what you're doing is absolutely brilliant, my friend. I just can't even tell you how much I respect you and what you have done in this profession, and you continually, we're ambassadors of hope. BK, we have the ability. It's tough out there right now. I love what Tom Chenault says. I know Tom is going to be interviewing you. And Tom says network marketing, affiliate marketing, relationship marketing, direct sales, whatever you want to call it. But the type of business that we do, it used to be one of those things. It was the last house on the block. A small industry that people kind of said out of the side of their mouth, I'm doing that. Today, mainstream, it's the only house on the block for a lot of people. I'm not saying that there aren't other options, but for the majority of people that want to be able to have leverage, real leverage in their life, if they pick a great company like a Vemma, for instance, and, Vemma may not be the only great company out there. It's one of my favorites. There are others, but at the end of the day, if you pick a great one, it's only as good as the founders. It's only as good as the people running it, because if they're not in business 10 years from now, if they're not in business 20 years from now, that residual income, isn't going to be there either. And that's why I have so much respect for you, is that I know that your love for this business, and you demand that it will be around for your children and for the children of the affiliates that have come on, that have made the commitment, that have supported you all over these years. You take that very, very seriously. I happen to personally know that. So my hat's off to you. I really appreciate you coming on to the Zone, and I know you're going to be on Tom Chenault tomorrow, and then you're going to get with Len Clemens, and Len's a great guy. I know Len will do a great job.
But who was first? All right, Tony, you were first, man. Don't ever forget that. Hey, love you, appreciate it. Thank you very much for the questions and the time.
My pleasure. I appreciate you very much. God bless you, BK.
All right, buddy.
We'll see you soon, and thanks everybody for joining us here on the Slight Edge Zone.
Bye-bye.